Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Innovation Nation, where we talk to the ones on the ground and get practical advice to help you grow your business. In today's episode, we have the pleasure of hosting two remarkable guests who are revolutionizing the agriculture landscape with their innovative platform. Join us as we sit down with Alick, Lazare, and Diamond Kelshall, the visionary minds behind an exciting new platform that is changing how agriculture industry operates, Ceres Agriculture. Through their unique perspectives and shared experiences, they will shed light on the potential of technology to address critical issues in agriculture and drive positive change. So, welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us, Kevin.
Yeah, man. First of all, thanks a lot for coming on. Old boys, SMA. Yeah, I feel like we have a connection already. Yeah, it's better live, right? Yeah. But it makes sense for me, SMA boys going on to, do really big things. Tell us a little bit about the background. Like, how did this partnership come about?
Well, I think it starts from primary school. I mean, me and Diamond went to the same primary school, we were in the same class our whole lives, so we were pretty much best friends from then. I think our friendship must be 24, 23 years of age. We always kind of been interested in technology. I remember we used to play a game called Beyond, where you could make your own little games within like a platform of games.
Nice.
So, I was always interested in technology and sports. I think that was my two things growing up. I used to play football, and I moved on to basketball.
So he's a gym man, Diamond.
Yeah, the gym more my thing, man.
So I guess that's the common thread between both of you all. The
Yeah.
sports aspect and the physicality and thing. That's cool.
Yeah.
So tell me now, so Diamond, how you convince this guy to, really do something in agriculture?
It didn't take much to convince him. Sorry, but we were having a discussion one day in our chat, and basically we just kind of figure out, what skills, like me and a few other guys in the chat, Alick involved, just kind of figure out who have skills where and where we can kind of piece things together. So that kind of, because of the timeline of me being involved in agriculture around that time period and Alick being in school, it didn't take much. It just kind of fall into place and just kind of pursued from there. We've been working at it ever since. It
Nice.
definitely take a bit because of the nature of the business and the nature of the customers that we now have to serve. It takes a bit of heavy lifting and a lot of reaching out, but we've been at it since 3 years now, Alick?
Yeah, about 3 years.
You mentioned that it specifically targets procurement. So tell me what is Ceres and what is it that you all are bringing to the table?
Yeah, so it's e-commerce platform based around the sale of agricultural produce. Basically, we want to take the procurement process and we want to put it in a very convenient place. I want to digitize essentially the process of procuring agricultural goods, and we also want to capture market events because we know the value of collecting that data. Through that, we can supply users with information. So right now, I would say our most mature product is the mobile application. Allows one to buy and sell produce. We have a 3-tier system in mind where we do data analytics, we do forecasting, and procurement.
What kind of information farmers expected to put into to Ceres? Like, what information are you gathering and why?
We have a short sign-up process. We gather their name, also their business name if they have any, which is optional. Just general information about our users, date of birth, and so on. But ultimately, the farmers are going to interact with our system in two ways: by adding crops to their inventory to say what they have available for harvest, and committing to buyer demand. so that would be long-term future contracts, so they can commit themselves to supplying what a buyer would like to purchase in the future. So
Mhm,
essentially, um, buyers will input what they would like to purchase by a specific deadline.
mhm,
And on that, they can input things like maturity, um, average size of the crop, and also any harvest notes
mhm.
um, that the farmer needs to keep in mind. And then that farmer would be able to see that demand and commit to fulfilling that demand at a certain date.
Okay.
So it's not a long-term contract, but a farmer can plan his commitments, 6 months in advance, a year in advance, and plan his harvest around that.
So, all right. So you're saying that with the data that you would be collecting, you'd be better able to predict, say, your harvests and be able to plan accordingly,
Yeah,
pretty much.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. In this day and age, not being able to measure something means that you're not really able to grow it, right? And I know traditionally this has been a analog industry, farming really. So, tell me what are some of the challenges you've been experiencing in terms of rolling this out? Like, explain to me
Yep.
or describe a few of the challenges that you've experienced and how you and your team have been able to deal with it.
So I think the first challenge we experienced was in really getting the farmers to buy into the idea.
Hmm.
Um, so when we first rolled it out, we went to farmers, we spoke to them. We held a pilot with Dexia, and we were exposed to a bunch of farmers. We could hold workshops, and it was really helpful.
Right.
And the response we got was most people were either intimidated by it, or they kind of felt like it would make their job more difficult. We thought that farmers are not technical, but honestly, I would say 95% of the farmers that we dealt with could work WhatsApp perfectly fine.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of them were on Facebook. Part of overcoming that hurdle for us meant coming up with guidelines for user experience design. Like I said, the workshops we had helped a lot with that because we could monitor where they get stuck, what confuses them, what looks intimidating about the thing, and yeah, we just came up with internal documented guidelines,
Hmm.
and we revamped our whole app, and all of our updates follow those guidelines going forward, and that has helped a lot in
Yeah.
making it seem more acceptable by farmers.
I think I read the statistic that the median age of a farmer in Dominica is into his 50s. So I would imagine that there would be a very big push to re-inject not just young energy, just additional persons into agriculture and finding ways for it to be interesting for those populations and being able to develop, not just develop the platform, but have all that data is so valuable. Again, I want to put a very, very big emphasis on it. But at the same time, do you see farmers being able to, or the people who come onto the platform, be able to analyze their data? Is that something that you all do, or is that something left up to the farmers?
It's something that we want to do. Um, we honestly we research the problem a bunch because
Mm,
ultimately I think that's one of the most useful products that we can deliver. To do it and to do it properly, I would say two different things, and we see more value in doing it through data, essentially,
right.
and that is, I think, one of the most useful parts of the app in itself because the app is makes you more productive, but it is an engine for collecting data. When we reach that point, it will be very useful to farmers, and the way you deliver it counts a lot for the success of the actual product.
For sure. It must be received in the way that they can actually understand and
Yeah.
digest it. So to that end, how do you ensure that those digital tools that you have available are accessible and user friendly, for farmers? I know they have different technology levels, and I know the one you mentioned, the processes, that's
Hmm.
important. I've also seen, similar apps outside the industry that integrates text messaging or WhatsApp
Yeah.
portion to where, the user interface, is something that's familiar. So what kind of, what kind of ways are you all trying to make that accessible for more farmers?
So I can give you some insight into the guidelines I spoke about earlier. If you look at WhatsApp and these other people, they make their apps very intuitive, right? They
Yeah.
try to make you read as little as possible, and that's kind of what we did. So we color coded buttons that produce a certain type of action, right?
Hmm.
And we kept that consistent throughout the whole app, so that when you can do one thing, you can do everything. We looked at WhatsApp as a model actually, and we we
Yeah.
revamped our UI like that.
Yeah, that's really important, I find too as well. Like the UI, and I think everything more now is moving towards a cleaner model, something that's very streamlined, very clean, minimal buttons, minimal clutter in your eyes. So I do appreciate the design. And Diamond, you with us? You you can talk to us. I think your audio is okay, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
For you specifically, can you tell me some of the key features or like functionalities of that solution and how they specifically cater to farmers' needs?
I would say the greatest for the farmers would be the ability to find markets. One, so what you don't want to do is, after you spend all your time farming, building up your stock, you don't want to at the end of it
Mhm.
not know what to do with it or not know if there's a market for it. So what we've been able to do, or what I've been able to do, is actually find markets for farmers to the stores, the hotels, and other stakeholders, as well as moving into exports. So getting into working with the hucksters and so on. So when farmers have large amounts of produce, they can begin to create large orders. Having that exposure in the agricultural market and the ability to find what you're looking for.
So you're the man on the ground then.
Yeah, I work with the farmers and business places and basically establish
Mhm.
the connection between the two of them and find out how we can help farmers basically create markets for themselves.
Okay, okay. So in a way, you're sitting here facilitating a relationship between, farmers and their goods and the consumers who
Yeah,
want it.
and even
And
in the
and
way they think about
yeah, that.
farming as a practice and a lifestyle, letting people know that
Hmm.
definitely, like one, that's the way that most of us eat. So we need farmers, and
Hmm.
it's just a way that you can make money and make a true living and live a good life off of that.
I know a lot of the time we feel like farming and agriculture is not necessarily, as glamorous as we would like it to be. But there is a lot of opportunity in the industry, especially now in the region. Food security and food production becomes really, really important. So just knowing that we have you guys on the ground being able to structure that for us, is something that's important. You mentioned the marketplace. When you say marketplace, it's more of an e-commerce. So does the platform itself have an e-commerce portion where they can conduct and transact business? And what kind of support tools do you have within the app to facilitate that?
Our application essentially is an e-commerce platform, and we added a lot of features to kind of make the lives of our users better. So farmers, for example, we handle every portion of the inventory management for them. So you're a farmer, you add your inventory once, and as long as you sell through our app, you don't have to count anything.
Okay.
If someone returns an order to you, it gets re-added. If someone orders from you, it gets deducted. If it's gone down to zero, we remove it from the market. To buyers, for example, we know documentation is very important. So we generate PDF invoices and receipts for them. And we recently pushed out an update where we made those available from the app. So you can just go on to Ceres, click on your PDF, and you can literally email it to the accounts department or WhatsApp or Facebook, whatever.
All
Save
right.
it to your phone, save it to your email. We can already provide insights into your performance for the month. We can provide, we can tell you what crops were your main purchase, average price that you spent on that crop. We can show you how much you spent this month. We can, of course, break down your sales that you purchased for the month,
Right.
and well, varying levels of varying intervals. Sorry. Yeah, so we had the ability for a while. If you look on our analytics web app, it's live. You can do the same thing, but with general market information. So all
Right.
we do is we shrink it down to a personalized set of data for the buyer,
hmm
and yeah, you can get that information already. So what we want to do is integrate it with tools like QuickBooks.
Right.
So maybe you can export it and use it in whatever accounting software you.
If I go on the app right now, yeah, I can say I'm trying to find out who has 10 pounds of potatoes. Yeah, I can go in right now and take a look and scroll. And as long as there's a farmer on the app with 10 pounds of potatoes or any pounds of potatoes, it's going to show up. And then I can just boop, bap, bap. Do y'all deliver? I have to call pick up.
Right now, we done delivery only, just because it's a lot simpler for the farmers. I think in
hmm
our first iteration, we allowed farmers to customize their store and say pick up or delivery, and
hmm
say the maximum distance they want to travel and all that stuff. And it just confused most people, or it made the app seem more complicated than it was.
Right, right. Understood.
So, no, it's useful, and I think we'll reintroduce it depending on the feedback we get from users.
Right.
For now, yeah, it's strictly delivery. Diamond also does, a service to help out some farmers sometimes.
What kind of partnerships or collaborations have you all been able to establish, to support the adoption and the implementation of this?
So we we did a pilot project with Dexia, um, 1 year project, and through that we developed a pretty good partnership with them. It really helped us in developing our, and they continue to help us in just understanding the whole process a bit more. We have also done a few partnerships with some private sector businesses, mostly through marketing. However, like this mango season, I think
Mm.
we did a partnership with one business where we helped them secure a lot of mangoes at a good price. We also did a promotion to help spread awareness of us, and also we had we developed a web page in collaboration with them, and we provided users with random facts about carrots. So it was a
Yeah.
nice initiative.
And that information will be in the description, for everybody who wants
Yeah.
to take a look at the app, and then see what it's about. It operates in Dominica currently. Yeah, so you would
Yes.
either have to be local or delivering locally. In your opinion, what are the top three challenges that you've been experiencing trying to digitize a traditionally analog industry like agriculture?
So I think our top challenge is synchronizing activity. Essentially, no matter how advanced your platform is, well, in all cases, buyers and farmers, but whatever you do,
Mhm.
if you cannot have both parties active at the same time, it's useless, right? Typically, we have I would say a core of users, but typically you would have a rise in one kind of user. In order to provide a good experience to them, you need to create a rise in activity on the other kind of user. It's not always simple to get that to happen.
Yeah, it's definitely a chicken or the egg kind of thing. And I keep telling
Mm-hmm.
people, like which one do you do first? Which one's more important when they are both important and they both depend on each
Yeah.
other? What's number two?
Number two, I would say getting people to think of the app as a tool that they can use and not just some novel thing. I think it's a consequence of our society, in a sense that we haven't gotten used to the idea of like doing everything online yet. But
Right.
it's yeah, it really takes effort to get something that is useful and let people think about it in that way, instead of just saying, "Oh, that's nice," and then trying it out for 5 minutes and not putting effort into actually using it.
They will see it and it's like, oh, cool. On the
Yeah,
other end, they don't necessarily see themselves, having it for themselves because now we're in a situation where everything is done on your phone, everything is done on your devices. We have people coming into Dominica, whether it's diasporans, whether it's, guests and foreigners, and there's a certain level of expectation as it relates to the, technology and ease of things.
yeah, it's almost like a part of your infrastructure now because everyone is used to that.
There is opportunity to organize. There's an opportunity for someone like yourself and Diamond to come in and say, hey, let me bring some method to the madness. Let me show you how, if you do it this way, it could lead to a better outcome. For you, right? As you are the man on the ground, in your opinion, like what kind of activity are you seeing on the platform? Like, are you seeing like there is a certain kind of crop that is getting attention, or there is a request for something? What kind of activity are you seeing on this platform right now?
Yeah, there's definitely an increase in activity. Noticing some certain products or crops that tend to do well. Noticing some people keep coming, and when they have requests for large orders, they would come to us or they would get my contact and ask me to if I could place an order for them. So yeah, I'm seeing increases in activity, but yeah, we can definitely already see lines of specialized crops and just people looking for certain things on consistent basis, or if they have their own businesses that they maybe do cooking, if they have a kitchen, a bar, or something. Even
Hmm.
in those cases, people look for us.
Take for instance like hotels. Hotels have different kinds of cuisines that require different kinds of ingredients, and some of them are not necessarily native, to Dominica, to the Caribbean region, and there are two options: either import it or either you grow it, right? So, is there demand on the platform for specialty crops like that?
Yeah, in terms of specialty items, we that's an area we want
Hmm.
to tap into to be able to produce or procure crops that are fine or exotic fruits or things of that nature. But yeah, we definitely
Hmm.
want to move forward in that direction, support exotic fruits and crops that are hard to come by, things that hotels and
Right.
maybe chefs and people in small businesses might be looking for.
Yeah, I really see that as an important niche.
Chefs might look for things like parsley. I think one chef was looking to contract somebody to grow some shad for him, the Swiss shad. So it have like little things that they look
Hmm.
for that not readily
Right.
available right now. But yeah, that's
Hmm.
definitely where we're moving into. That's an area that we're moving into.
So I see that's a great opportunity,
Mm.
especially for young farmers coming in. Have you seen many young farmers coming in, and what about like cooperatives and those things? Like, what
Yeah,
kind of
I've seen
activity
some young
you're
farmers
seeing with
coming.
membership?
More this year, more and more have been coming in. But I even work one of the younger guys who came onto the app. I work closely with him right now. He's one of the people. He was actually with me today, and he's a person I now see every other day. Or
Okay, yeah. So man on the ground for sure. Uh, Tell me, like, how many employees right now do y'all have? Is it just two of you are running the show, or do y'all have a few helpers and or what?
yeah, it's just the two of us. But one or two guys might lend a hand once in a while, according to what project that we're doing at the time. Sometimes,
Yeah, yeah.
for instance, if a person wants to start a garden, they want someone to maybe help them estimate the cost or plan it out or do it for them. That's an area
Mhm.
of service that we also get into.
If say we had to define success as number of users, do you know how many users you currently have or thereabout?
Yeah, we currently have about 30 or 40 users, well, going on 40 users on the app. Um,
Mhm.
there's quoted 1,000 plus farmers on island, so definitely going
Mhm.
44,000, and if there's more, and then moving on to
Yeah.
the wider Caribbean in the future. we want to just try and collect all that data and then move on to other islands and just make it holistic process, holistic service for the entire Caribbean.
How much of this food are you all moving, on per month on average?
Yeah, so generally that's how we do things. So when we buy, we sell things by weight. Certain crops, you know, I've seen one or two that people sell strictly by, prefer to sell strictly by volume, so they count how many. But
Hmm.
generally it's by pound.
Right.
And in terms of how much, it depends on like what a person might intend to do with it. So if let's say a person might be huckstering or a person might be doing, they might have a hotel, they might have a
Hmm.
restaurant or something of that nature. It could
Hmm.
be thousand like different crops and 1,000 pounds of this crop, 700 pounds in that crop, 300 in this
Hmm.
and so
Hmm.
on. So it's really according to what the crop going to be used for, where it going, whatever the person
Right.
looking for, we set our targets.
In May, we processed, I believe, 400 pounds of fruit. I
Nice.
think that was it. It's not consistent, but we have targets in place where we think we should achieve.
But I think that's pretty impressive, for a two-man team, especially the fact that you all are also not in the same country, right? So a lot of coordination, I
Uh,
guess, has to go along with making this successful. Have you all found that harder, being in separate countries and trying to make this work, or is it a situation where technology has bridged that gap? Let's say that.
we, communicate perfectly. I think it's difficult because sometimes diamond has to be two places at once, right? I really cannot. But in terms of making sure things get done, we've been communicating for 20 something years, so second nature
Yeah,
at this
yeah.
point.
Yeah, I think you'll have that shorthand as well, so that really works for a good partnership. Like, do you all have any, like, concerns as it relates to data privacy and security and collecting and analyzing that data? We need more information. Yeah, and sadly we can't get it. So how are you all protecting this information that you're gathering? Because it is precious information. We can't get it how we want to get it, but it still needs to be protected. How are you all going about doing that?
The first thing is just following general security principles in terms of software design,
Hmm.
authentication, and security of our service, because we want to make sure that all the files we serve, our data is secure.
Right.
Secondly, we follow the California and EU um, privacy laws because I think that the world is modeling after them, especially the EU. And in the Caribbean, well, in Dominica, I don't think we have any that we have to follow by law. However, um, we do so, one, keep good standing on the App Store.
Yeah.
Two, just to ensure users that their data is in good hands and that we're not in the business of to sell personal information.
Yeah.
So like one thing we can assure users, for example, is that although we capture data on market activity, their personal information is not connected to that. So you delete your account, yes, we know.
Mhm.
Yes, the sales that you completed is logged, but it's not linked to you in any way.
Would you be able to make that information available to the public if it's anonymized like that?
Of course, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's data generated by use of our software.
The fact that it's hard to make those data driven decisions is really
Yeah,
frustrating for me, and it makes it harder. No, it really makes it harder to innovate because now, in absence of that, we fall back on traditional ways of doing things and how it's accustomed of doing because there's no real way to prove that what you want to do will work. So I think that's a big part about the push for innovation in the Caribbean and getting the populace itself to adopt not just your app or your platform, but getting comfortable in that digital space altogether.
Yeah, agreed. And even sorry,
No
I
problem.
was just something I personally have been looking at is I don't know, you must have heard about ChatGPT, right?
For sure, for sure.
We've seen a lot of improvements in AI, but it's
Mhm.
not necessarily because the techniques have improved so much. It's just that we're in the right climate for it because of all the data available.
Right, right.
Like think of Twitter, Facebook, the amount of text you can train ChatGPT on. Of course, it's gonna be groundbreaking. And I was saying in the Caribbean, we're already thinking like that, and it doesn't mean to say that we need to be part of the AI race, but also as for analytical thinking and so on as well, it puts us at a disadvantage.
And again, like it's kind of like what we were saying, in the absence of data, we really just fall back on what we know. So here's, I guess, my last question for you. What advice would you give young entrepreneurs who really want to come in and innovate in traditionally analog spaces like agriculture?
I would say to focus on the problem you're trying to solve first. I would even recommend getting some experience doing it without a website or anything.
Thank you very much for that, Diamond. Well, I mean, I cannot say it best. I think that's the best way we can end the podcast. Um, I mean, you guys heard it from Alick and Diamond. They are both the co-founders of Ceres Agriculture. It's an agriculture platform that's really reshaping how we do business in agriculture and how farmers and merchants, interact in the digital space. So, again, thank you very much, Alick, for the time. Thank you very much, Diamond, and I hope you all have a good day and all of best of luck to you all and Ceres Agriculture.
Yeah, man, thanks for having us, Kevin.